Bridget's face suddenly went pale. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Now you look frightened." She lowered her voice and said, "Something bad always happens when someone sees the black coat in this house. I saw it when I was a child, and the next morning, old Lord Fitzgerald died. Something bad is going to happen now, madam. I know it. A shiver ran down my spine. I didn't want to believe her. We went down for dinner, but I couldn't enjoy the evening. I felt uneasy and afraid, yet I said nothing to my husband. I wanted to forget about it and be happy again. The next morning, Lord Fitzgerald and I took a walk around the house and gardens. I wanted to explore my new home and push away the strange fear that had settled inside me. "I love this house and all the people here," I said. "I'm happy to be here with you. It's much better than Cork." My husband was silent for a long time. He walked with his head down, lost in thought. Then, suddenly, he turned to me, took my hand, and said, "Margaret, listen to me. Listen carefully. There's something I must ask of you. Please, only go into the rooms at the front of the house. Never go into the rooms at the back of the building or the small garden by the back door. Never. Do you understand me, Margaret?" His face was pale and serious. I understood his words, but not the reason behind them. Why had he suddenly changed? Here in Lismore he no longer smiled or laughed. Maybe the back of the house was dangerous, I thought, but he refused to speak of it further. We returned to the house in silence, and once again I tried to forget his words and be happy. It was about a month later that I met the other woman for the first time. One afternoon, I decided to take a walk in the garden. It was a lovely day, and after lunch, I went up to my room to fetch my hat and coat. But when I opened the door, I saw a woman sitting near the fireplace. She looked to be around 40, wearing a long black coat. Her face was pale, and as I looked closer, I realized her eyes were white. She was blind. "Madam," I said, "this is my room. There must be some mistake." The woman turned her face toward me and replied, "Your room? A mistake?" "No, I don't think so. Where is Lord Fitzgerald?" "Downstairs in the living room," I said. "But who are you? Why are you here in my bedroom?" "Tell Lord Fitzgerald that I want him," she said. Then, in a cold voice, she added, "I must tell you that I am Lady Fitzgerald." I felt my heart race. "No," I said. "I am Lady Fitzgerald. You need to leave my room." But suddenly she screamed, "You are not, you are not," and struck me hard across the face. I cried out for help, and within moments, Lord Fitzgerald ran into the room. I rushed past him and outside, listening at the door. I couldn't hear everything, but I knew my husband was furious, and the blind woman was deeply upset. When he finally came out, I asked him, "Who is that woman? Why is she in my bedroom?" But he gave me no answer. His face was pale with fear. "Forget her," he said, and walked away. But I couldn't forget her. Each day it became harder to talk to my husband. He was quiet now, always distant, staring into the fire with troubled eyes. Then one morning after breakfast, he suddenly said, I have the answer. We must leave. We must go to France or Spain, perhaps. What do you think, Margaret? But he didn't wait for my response. He left the room quickly, as if escaping something. I sat there, confused. Why must we leave Lismore? I didn't understand. And I didn't want to go too far from my mother and father in Cork. They were old now, and my father was sometimes ill. They had never loved me much, but I still wanted to stay close to them. I thought about it all day, but couldn't decide what to tell my husband when he returned in the evening. So I said nothing. After dinner, I was exhausted. I went to my bedroom early, hoping a good night's sleep would clear my mind. I closed my eyes, but my sleep was restless. I dreamt of the black coat. Suddenly, I woke up. The room was dark and silent, but I wasn't alone. A faint light flickered at the foot of my bed, and behind it, I saw the blind woman. In her other hand, she held a knife. I tried to move, but she stopped me. "If you want to live, don't move," she whispered. "Tell me one thing. Did Lord Fitzgerald marry you?" "Yes," I answered. "He married me in front of 100 people." She sighed. "That's unfortunate," she said, "because he never told you that he already had a wife." I felt the blood drain from my face. "I am his wife, not you, young woman," she continued. "You must leave this house tomorrow. Do you see this knife? If you stay, I will kill you with it." Then, without another word, she disappeared into the darkness. I lay awake the rest of the night, trembling with fear. When morning came, I told my husband everything. "Who is the blind woman?" I demanded. "She told me last night that she is your wife, that I am not." My husband's expression darkened. "Did you go to the back rooms?" he asked sharply. "I told you never to go there." "But I didn't," I protested. "I was in my bed all night." She came to me. "Please, tell me the truth." But he only turned pale again and remained silent for a long time. Finally, he said, "No, she is not my wife. You are. Don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she's saying." And then he walked away. I couldn't take it anymore. I ran to find Bridget. "I don't like this house," I confessed. "I don't understand my husband. Who is the blind woman? I need to know." Bridget sighed. "Sit down, madame," she said gently. "What I'm about to tell you is not pleasant." I sat, my heart pounding. "The blind woman, the woman in the black coatis, dead," Bridget said. "You saw her ghost. She was Lord Fitzgerald's wife, the real Lady Fitzgerald. No one knows exactly how she died. Her bedroom was at the back of the house, but the night she died, someone saw your husband with a knife in his hand. No one knows, but when we found her, the knife was on the floor beside her, and her eyes..." Bridget paused, her voice shaking. "Her eyes had been cut out after she died. Perhaps he didn't want her to see his next wife. You." Cold fear gripped me. I couldn't stay another moment in that house. Without waiting to speak to my husband, I packed my bags, said a quick goodbye to Bridget, and ordered the driver to take me back to Cork. I now live peacefully with my mother and father. The house is quiet. I sleep well at night, and they are kinder to me than before. Sometimes my dead sister visits me in my dreams. She tells me that the blind woman is still looking for me in Lismore, that she wants to kill me, but she will never find me there.